welcome to Two Queens and Crystal Things, the podcast where we are on some manifest your life, shift your mind, and raise the consciousness type of shit. I am Christie.
And I am Mia. And you can consider us your spiritual girlfriends for the next hour. Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, so before we get into today's topic, let's talk about last week. Last week we talked about self-forgiveness in action.
Yes.
In past episodes, we've discussed forgiveness in a general manner. But this particular episode, we dug a little deeper by focusing on forgiveness of self. And seriously, like really getting down to the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
After you have come to the realization that you have done some jacked up stuff, what do you do to help yourself through that process? So listen to it. I think it's really helpful. We got some good feedback about it. So if you guys haven't had a chance, check it out. So Chrissy, what are we discussing today? Did I say disgusting?
Yeah, I mean it is a disgusting topic. Look,
what are we talking
people
about
have been
today?
showing their true disgusting selves.
Yes.
Okay,
Ooh,
so all right,
part.
so we have not talked about this topic for various and personal reasons, but lately I've been reflecting on the concept of embracing all aspects of life, and that's the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, all of that stuff. So oftentimes when there's something that we don't like, we like to ignore it or pretend that it doesn't exist, when in fact we need to acknowledge it and give it wings. You see how I did that? Wings unleashed.
Wings I like that. Spread your wings. Oh, sorry.
There you go. Shameless plug. No, not shameless. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is the pandemic.
Yes.
And I'm just going to refer to it as the pandemic. I'm not going to talk about, I may say the C word, not the full C word, but I might just say the C word. But we want to talk about how it has changed people. We're going to focus on the good, and we'll talk about how it's changing people in not so good ways, but we do want to focus on the good because I think that's important.
So, okay, Christy, seriously, I know that you can attest with this. More and more people are awakening during this time.
It's crazy. So many.
And I honestly, when we are in a time of chaos and, all that fun stuff, or the not so fun stuff, we find that that's when people start, because we talk about this all the time, that sometimes trauma brings your awakening when you start asking questions. You good? So people are beginning to see that our institutions, the systems, everything is literally crumbling before our very eyes, and it's upsetting. And much what we have been taught in our lifetime, people are finding was false.
Yep.
Woo, child, and discovering the truth, and honestly discovering their own truth. Yes. Because the truth for me is not necessarily the truth for somebody else.
Yep.
And so when we start to crumble these institutions that we thought was the truth for everybody, now we're like, wait a minute, hold on, my truth is a little different, girl. So people are beginning to ask questions. They wake up. Alarm clock's going off.
Ooh,
ding, 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 ding.
So many people are starting to ask questions like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Why is it the media is reporting this? And why is this channel reporting this? Like, it's very interesting. People that I didn't even think would ever question, they are now questioning.
Oh. So we do want to talk about how the pandemic has been, how it has been helpful. And one of the things is it's made people ask questions. But before we get into that, we're just gonna have us a couple of real moments. We're gonna talk about how it's kind of jacked up. So one thing I want to talk about, and I'm not even going to say the word, but we're gonna talk about it just a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing from this pandemic that I've discovered is when you think about all the things that we have to divide us: race, gender, socioeconomic class, education levels, all these things.
Neighborhood.
So
access
much.
Access to health care.
And then you have this one thing that comes out that I'm we tell our age. I'm 44 years old, and I will tell you, and not that that's like a significantly long time, but I can be honest with it. In my 44 years, and I have lived a life. I've lived all different type of places. Grew up in a predominantly white neighborhoods. I have experienced a lot of stuff, but I would tell you that the conversation about the vaccine is that I've never seen anything divide us more than that. I mean, this is worse than race. The V word. And I mean, so, and here's the thing. It's almost like you know how that saying, a common enemy. Well, you know, if you guys have a common enemy, you know, you become friends. Mm-hmm. So what we're finding is it's actually a good and bad thing, because what I'm saying is it's either pro-vaccine or no vaccine, and then you have these and then you have those of us who are I would say I'm more of an observer in this situation. I just believe people should do whatever the hell they want to do for their own body. I don't want to tell you what's. Matter of fact, I don't even want to know what you're doing. It's not my business. But so we have this divide, you know, between when it comes to this issue, but what I am finding is the interesting thing about that, Christy, is people who would never be on the same side, because they're on the same side on this issue, they are allies now.
Yes.
So while it's dividing us, and I mean, I've never seen anything divide us like this, like seriously.
Right.
So, and again, only in my 44 years. But what also is, depending on what side that you're on, you have a bunch of allies. So now you have allies with every race, gender, everybody that you know that you really wouldn't be on the same side with. But now we're just literally, as a country, as a world, we're just divided. What do you think about this?
I agree. Like, I feel like it is another thing to create division.
Mm-hmm.
And we already, I mean, it's like, it's a means to create separation and almost like hierarchy too. Because I'm finding that those who do have the V, you know, tend to look down at those who do not, or who choose or elect to not.
And I'm saying, like, people who do not are looking at those that do as like they're stupid. Right. I mean, like, no, seriously, right. It's like it's such a stark contrast. It's like, you know, so one thing I have to, so I will say that I am on the side of letting people do what's best for them.
Yes,
I genuinely think that. I don't think that, because I mean, I'm not a scientist. I am not a medical doctor. That has not been my field of study. But I understand people, and I understand that when people need to do what makes them feel safe, what makes them feel comfortable, what makes them feel like, you know, healthy. Such a weirdo, sorry. You know, we have Brantley and Jade in the background just having a ball. Y'all get the real deal sounds around here. Okay. Jade, sit down.
We're moms. You
guys
know.
See, you know. Okay, so, but I really do feel like people should do what makes them feel good. And if it makes you feel better to be vaccinated so that you feel safe, like I feel like, okay, I have some covering, you should be able to do that. And if it makes you feel like I don't want that because it makes me feel unsafe, then people should be able to do that. That's where I stand.
Whatever decision people make,
I feel like that should be your own business.
Be nice, be
alone.
kind, don't judge, don't make people feel bad, don't make people feel less than. People are making decisions that they feel are right and perfect for themselves.
And we talk about sovereignty of self all the time. It makes me sad when people who, and this is happening in my life, so I can't even, like, it's not like I see this on TV or something. Like, it makes me really sad that people who, that, you know, you are friends with, close with, colleagues, when it comes down to this issue, and I'm talking about, we have moved past so many other barriers for an opportunity to, you know, be friends, and now we're friends, and then it comes down to this issue, and with one freaking question, a whole relationship can fall apart.
Right.
Woo! I mean, I've seen, like, with my experiences, seen with my own, and that honestly really makes me sad. And when I think about the collective, as we are trying to create a new world, because at the end of the day, the pandemic, y'all, like, this was some jacked up stuff. We're gonna get to the good part. We're gonna keep it real. This was some really jacked up stuff, and we're talking about, you know, a lot of things crumbling before our very eyes that we trusted and knew to be true, and now we don't know that to be true. So, as we are building a new society. And when I talked to, I listened to some astrologers, and I said this, I don't know if I said this to you before, I was like, man, I feel like this is like 1776 when America was trying to, deciding we want to be a separate country from Britain. You got to think about it. Not everybody was on board with that. There are people who are like, wait, what you tripping on? We good. No, this is, and then you had those, and you got to think about it, they were truly rebellious. Like they were rebels. Like we want to build a new world, and here we are, the United States of America, because that side decided to move forward. There was where a lot of things happened. And I said to my parents too, I feel like that's where we are right now. We're back in that type of era where you have people who are like, but everything is fine for me, because you have people that the way the systems are working, they are thriving. They're like, I'm good. Y'all need to figure it the hell out. Then you have some who are like, yeah, but no, this is not what's up. And some people are like, this is not working for me and for us as a collective. And I feel like that's where we are. And so no matter what happens, it will never be the same.
No, it will never.
And then when I listened to an astrologer the other day, it was Pam Gregory, I think. And she said, astrologically, the sky looks like how it looked in 1776. I was like, see, that's what the...
Seriously?
Yes, so like everything is coming up. Like everything is being exposed. So it's...
Wow.
So you have to think about it. If you're comfortable and you're like, life is good. Like exactly. And everything is being uprooted, and you're seeing, like, I didn't know that the roots of my system were rotted. Like, what the heck is this? This is a whole disease.
Y'all need to check the roots.
Check the roots, and that's what's happening. And honestly, I'm not anti-government or anything like that. It is very disturbing to me to see what I'm seeing, and more importantly, it's disturbing to me to see the censorship. It's like, because I let me tell you what I believe, and this is what I'm finding a lot of people do not believe. I believe in every person's sovereignty to make decisions that are right for them. And I'm not even talking about the V. I'm talking about just in life. General, yeah. So, but what I definitely believe is that people should be given all the information.
Oh, yes.
Just give me all the information. Let me decide for me. I don't need you making damn decisions for me. And what we've done as a collective, and I'm smacking all our butts on this one. What we have done as a collective is allowed ourselves to be told what to do about things that we know how to do for ourselves. Simple shit. The weather. If people get up every day and they check the weather, decide what they're going to wear or what they're going to do. Now, if you live in Chicago, it doesn't matter because like it could snow, rain, sun. You never know. But as a people, we have intuition. If you're standing outside, it's nice out, and all of a sudden the temperature drops or something, guess what? You know it's about to freak out. You can smell it in the air. These are things that we know.
And we used to be in tune with.
But now we've allowed somebody to tell us what it is that we already know intuitively, and that's what I feel like is being awakened in everybody. It's just like, damn,
but that's purposeful.
I let them tell me everything.
But if you think about it, that's purposeful. Because that makes us not rely on our intuition, which is why a lot of people...
Come on, friend. You better tell them, Christy.
People aren't using their intuition nowadays.
Exactly. So we don't use our intuition, we are very much so about people being in tune with themselves, and spiritually, what we've done on a day-to-day basis. Because we talk about spirituality just in terms of connecting with source, but I'm talking about using your intuition on a day-to-day basis. Not having to have somebody else, just when I started really thinking about this, I'm like, we literally have allowed a system, like a collective, to tell me what is right for me, and so, for my hair, my clothes, what's beautiful, what's not, what to wear, what the weather is, where I should go visit, where all of these things, what the traffic. So much. And so when we rely on all of these institutions, we've been doing it for decades, hundreds of years. This isn't new, but all of that is crumbling. So there are going to be people here who don't know how to.
They are going to be lost. So let me tell you
like something. Dang thing.
So this was really funny, and I won't say names, but I was driving the car with someone, and we were going someplace where it's easy. Okay, you just go this way, but they use a navigation system. Well,
people
I don't understand.
People don't know how to get anywhere anymore. Like, seriously.
I was like, I don't understand. Like, you just, it's like.
But they want to have certainty from an outside source. We do this.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Why do we need certainty from an outside source? And this is what's happening, and it's going to keep happening. I'm just letting y'all know. Y'all know I'm a read. I'm just putting it out there. I don't care no more. The things that we trust to tell us what to do, how to be, and what to think, all those things are crumbling. Yep. Now, there will be those, when they start seeing this, they're going to be like, wait a minute, hold on. They're going to wake up immediately like, wait, I got this. I know. And it's going to be some people who are just like, but I'll tell you, our generation, lucky us, we are lucky enough to have been in a generation where we were taught to use maps. We know how to read. We were alive and thriving before smartphones were a thing.
Before the internet.
Before the internet. We were the first people in the house when you were trying to get on your dial-up. That was us. We used to do I remember doing papers on a word processor.
Yeah.
So I remember using a typewriter. Yes, to all of our young people, that was an actual thing. I know it sounds crazy, but it was an actual thing.
Yes, it was.
So there will be people who are going to struggle with getting back to using their intuition. Now, if you're in a position where you've never had to use your intuition to make any decision,
for some people,
we need to reach for these people. Yeah. It's going to be a hard time.
Some
and so, as a
collective,
and if they want to, but like when I say it's just everything is going to change. But I feel like it's the phoenix rising from the flame type thing. We're just doing the burning part right now, you guys. But we will rise. But you cannot rise anew unless you burn. And that's just where we are. Sorry.
That is true.
Look, I'm like,
don't
considering our time.
Sorry.
That's our message for the day too. Shoot, let's get it out the way.
Yep. Okay, so let's talk about. So we know what the pandemic did wrong.
But there is some good stuff that came out.
Yeah, there is some good stuff, and I wanted to talk about that too. So as you talked about the system being broken down so it can be built up, so I think that's something that's positive. So in order to create something new, you have to get rid of the old. There's no way. Like, both of them cannot exist.
Phoenix burning.
Right. So both of them cannot exist at the same point. And honestly, like, I think that brings me that brings me hope. That makes me realize that, okay, all of these things that over the years have become, like, people fighting over power, people being money hungry and greedy. Like, I feel like, okay, this is an opportunity for us to do things right.
Oh my God. So, Christie, that's one of the things that gives me hope too, especially when you wake up and realize how powerful we are as creators.
Yep.
We literally have the power to create our life. So sometimes something has to burn down in us for it to be like, oh, I do know how to build. You don't have to build anything right now because everything's there and set and you're told what to do. The path is like, no, don't look over there, just go this way. Now we're having to forge our own paths. And we're like, oh my God, I didn't know it was so beautiful over here. So I honestly do. There's so many good things coming out of people forging their own paths because of this pandemic. They were forced to.
I agree. Yeah, forced. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, a lot of people were forced to. Like, I don't know how. I mean, they didn't have jobs. Like, think about people who work in the restaurant industry. They may have had some passions that they're like, oh, I don't have time to do that. Now you don't have a job. You have no income. Now you are forced to figure out your own path and follow your passions. And then, so you have people who are like, oh my God, I should have been doing this the whole time. That's something beautiful to me that came out of so many entrepreneurial things that are coming out of this. And people are doing well.
I agree. And, something else that I think is a positive is that the pandemic forced people to slow down.
Set your ass down.
Well, because in our culture, it's people kind of brag on, oh well, I worked like a 60-hour week and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and work. But I really feel like the pandemic forced us to slow down, which then in turn made us deal with our shit.
Oh my! And actually, it did force a lot of people to deal. I wonder how many people. We should do a poll on our IG page.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
How many people during the pandemic were forced to deal with their shadow self?
Ooh.
That part.
Ooh.
Because think about it, especially when we were on lockdown. Especially when we were on lockdown, you guys. And some places, their lockdown was a little bit more severe than others.
I agree.
So you really weren't next to people, like genuinely around people. And I mean, I think about like our friends who are single and maybe they don't even have children. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of people were getting pets, because they're just like, I knew that people were lonely. But in those times of loneliness, what do you do? Because we do things sometimes when we're lonely that later we regret. We call somebody that we don't need to be talking to.
That old boo.
Right? Y'all know y'all did some throwback vintage.
WYD.
Y'all know y'all went back to some vintage thing during the pandemic. But some of us don't have anybody, if you don't have anybody to call to do something like that, it's just, don't get on the a lot of us got on the merry-go-round.
True.
Like, just kept backtracking because they weren't able to find something new during that time. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people just had to sit with themselves. So I'm really curious how many people found that during that time that it felt the worst, but then when you look back on it, you're like, actually, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I needed that. I needed that.
I needed it.
I needed it.
Yeah.
Low key, I started to enjoy it.
I agree, because I'm trying not to go back.
Right? Look, I'm just like, I'm gonna keep it real.
I am trying not to go back to my office, so yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So another thing is, like, when we talk about causing people to spend more time with themselves. So even if we get not talking about the shadow work, what people were able to kind of dig into their passions. So if you're sitting here, you can only watch so much Netflix before you're like, okay, I did this, I don't know what, right, I'm done. But spending time with yourself, and guys, one of my favorite topics of discussion is people and their self-mastery.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like a lot of people got to even open themselves up to the concept of getting to know themselves.
I agree.
And what I found really fascinating is how many people, including myself, there were so many things that I didn't know about myself that I was able to discover because I was spending time with myself. Mm-hmm. And that's dope to me.
I agree. Cause people to spend more time with themselves. And then you also mentioned it too. It also, like, people in the creative juices, finding their passions. I think that's a bonus. I mean, so think about how many businesses started. The podcast started during the pandemic. Think about it.
I'm an idiot. Do you know I did not realize that? Yeah, we've been doing this thing for a minute.
Yeah, we have. We've
been putting in some work. But this podcast started during the pandemic, and I would consider this a positive aspect that came out of it. I mean, absolutely. Hello.
Yeah. And then also,
why did I not put that together? Damn it.
But no, I mean, it's just like,
wow.
Because it feels like we've been doing this for a while.
Yes.
But this started during the pandemic.
It sure did. Woo. Wow.
And that was also, me coming out of my, going through my thing and sitting with myself and realizing it's like, you know what?
I need to have some conversations about this.
There's a lot of stuff that needed to be discussed. Wow. And I also think that was great too, because people are sitting at home, so what else are they going to do? I mean, most of them are working, but it also gives them an opportunity to listen to things. Because people, after a point in time, people don't want to watch TV because it's this doom and gloom 24/7. So when podcasts started to grow during the pandemic too.
I mean, even just the listening audience of podcasts in general.
Yep.
It grew a lot during the pandemic.
Yep.
Businesses.
Yep.
I'm not joking when I tell you I'm dead ass, including Christie and myself. Mm-hmm. When I say about 85% of my social group started a whole business by themselves, started it as a side hustle. Like, people took the time to just like, you know what, I've been talking about this forever. I mean, when I say everybody, I mean, I'm literally going through my mental Rolodex, and I can only think of a few people that I know that haven't. And that's not a judgment. I'm just saying that when I say a majority of people have started to explore their artistry, People are creating products. People, I mean, and they're and start putting themselves out there.
Yeah. And then also think about this, like the new skills that you learned during the pandemic. Like we did the sound healing certification.
You sure did.
Actually, I did my crystal healing
I'm about to
certification.
say, didn't you do that? Was that during the pandemic or was that before?
No, it started right. Like I had registered, I think back in November. Classes started
in February.
Classes started.
I remember that. Okay, yep.
Yep. I did angelic Reiki during COVID.
Did I do? So it's been over a year now for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I did my Reiki 2 certification January.
See?
Right before.
Right before.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's amazing. But people are, learn. You know what? This is going to sound silly, but this is a real thing. How many of you all learned how to cook during the pandemic? Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Everything was about recipes. Like, how many of y'all made some homemade bread that you would have never done before?
Oh.
I mean, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
you bake off. You would bake it in any way. But I mean, people have, when even learning new skills, even if it's not necessarily entrepreneurial it's just more personal development and growth. People learned a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it is kind of funny to me. Like, people tried. Remember the cinnamon challenge?
Was that during the pandemic?
I think that was
that
during
was
the pandemic.
stupid.
As hell. I'm like,
people were just trying to entertain themselves. Like,
right?
I'm like, man, you guys must read
pause.
a book.
Hold on, pause for the cause. Can we talk about this crate challenge?
Oh, they call that the Hood Olympics.
The Hood Olympics?
The Hood Olympics, yeah.
Jay just informed us that it's called the Hood Olympics. Okay, but I do have one question. And, maybe it's a practical question. Maybe it's just, this grown woman to me. Where the fuck is everybody getting these milk crates from? Are y'all robbing milk crates? I need to know. I need to know, where are y'all getting these crates from?
Someone posted, they're like, I've never seen milk crates on sale.
Ever. No, I
but
have
at the
questions.
store, it was like they were on sale.
No.
Yeah, like 99 cents a crate. Have you ever been to a store and seen crates on sale? Never. I've never seen them.
When we were in college, they had those things that are kind of like milk crates that you put your stuff in when you first go to college. But I'll tell you this, you couldn't stand on them things. You would break your neck. Those milk crates, I mean, are you guys robbing milk factories? Stop. But why are y'all signing up to break your neck?
And the funny thing is that they were saying a lot of the people who are doing it are the main ones who probably don't,
need to be knowing it. Because let me tell you what I want. And we're going to get back on that topic. So you know how they show the video of somebody gets up on the milk crate, is shaking, and then they fall down, they stop the video. I need y'all to be real with the people. Keep showing that video. I need to see the ambulance come. I need to see them in the cast. Show the whole video, because people are out here really trying this. They're like, oh, they didn't do it right, because they not thinking that y'all out here breaking y'all necks. Okay. Anyway, sorry. We talked about the businesses, learning skills. This is an interesting one. People growing closer to their family.
Yeah. So I don't know about you. I mean, not to say that I wasn't close to my family, but I mean, we're like, when we're together, we're close, but when we're apart, we're living life. But we started having weekly Zoom meetings, which I think we still do now. Yeah, we actually, I mean, it's fallen off a little bit, but we still do our like Zoom family check-ins. Where my parents, my niece and nephew, my sister in Florida, Tracy,
Right. I love that.
Siblings, my kids, even my son in London, he gets on. My aunt and uncle in Ohio, my cousins. So, I mean, I think that has been a really positive piece.
I love that.
Just to check in. Like, how's everything going? What's going on?
And that's not something that you guys were doing before.
No,
and I totally get that. It's like, that's how my family is. When we're around each other, we're like thick as thieves. But, people have kids and lives and jobs and there's 5 of us. So, people busy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kids, and we did do a lot. Like, I would tell you, there are certain holidays where we get together regardless. I don't care where you are, what you're doing. Y'all need to figure it out. Thanksgiving is one of them just because it's my dad's favorite holiday. I don't even like Thanksgiving food. But that was the first time we weren't able to try to be together during that time. And so because of COVID, you know, we had to do something online, and it was it was a little weird. But I think we're more cognizant of checking in on our family members than we were before, just because you really didn't know what was happening.
Yep.
It's almost like before this, you're like, I know everybody's fine. I'll, see them at Christmas. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, wait, let me just call and check on family.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And honestly, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I also say not to take this to a negative side, but I also think it gave people an opportunity to, if they needed to be away from their families.
Well, okay, so going back
I'm being serious. I'm not trying.
But no, I mean,
seriously,
that's real. That's real.
Very
because
real.
I have a friend who was a cop. This is baby Cubby, one of the little cubs.
Mm-hmm. Cubby bear.
Little Cubby bear. He's a cop, and he was saying that the domestic violence calls increased during COVID. So there's that aspect that we haven't thought of either, because think about being in a household with someone that is abusive, even with children. I mean,
and they can't get out to their little side thing. Let me tell you something.
I wasn't talking about the side.
No, but I'm not, because I let me say this very carefully. You know, I know quite a few affluent men who have been married for a very, very, very long time, and they have straight said having that escape route, I guess you could call that. Their sneaky link. That's what the kids call it. Having a sneaky link has kept them married.
Yeah, I have heard of that too.
I mean, and I remember the first time somebody said this to me, I was appalled, because I was married at the time, and I was like, how the fuck dare you? I mean, I was so mad. But then when I started having a conversation about it, I was like, I actually understand what you mean. Right. I get what that...
It makes sense.
Now, I don't want to be in a relationship where my man feels like he needs a sneaky link away, but these men were straight saying, like, it keeps me married. And it's like, I'm like, okay. And they're like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going. But if I didn't have an outlet of that sort...
So what did they do during the pandemic?
That part. Domestic violence calls. No. So that was very difficult for people. Like, very, 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 very difficult for some people, when it's like, I need an outlet. Yeah. And I know that a lot of relationships started during the pandemic too, because people
are lonely.
What do you call it? What do we call it?
Cuffing
season was the whole pandemic.
Man, the entire
pandemic was cuffing season. Whoever you were with, y'all just with now. And for some people, this has been working out really well. People are getting married, like relationships that, they didn't believe would work, and now they're amazing. And then there are some people who have been together for a long time, and they realize, I do not freaking like you. I don't even like you. Like, I don't, like, when we're going away to work, and I'm really only have to spend a few hours a night with you, and then we get up and do, I can tolerate it. But every day, all day, straight up, y'all need to come get me. There was some of that too.
Well, I'm grateful, because I think about if I had to have been in the lockdown with my ex-husband.
Christy, when I say you started your divorce right on time,
I would have. I don't know if somebody would not have made it out.
And I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna let y'all know. Christy would have been the one out. I'm not saying no names. I'm just saying Christy would have been out. That's all I'm saying. She would have made it out. Oh, child. Look at you.
I'm like, okay.
Did you hear what I just said? Look at you.
Look at you. Look at you.
Stop.
Inside joke.
Patty came out. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm better now.
But I will say, the pandemic, I mean, because it forced people to sit with themselves, I think it also caused people to learn how to deal with their stresses better.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of people, I mean, honestly, that's when I started building up my clientele. People were anxious, people were depressed, they had anxiety.
Yes.
So I think that, and then there are also, think about all of the online therapy programs or apps that started during the pandemic. There was like, oh, well, if you need someone to talk to, you can go online here. I saw tons of ads during the pandemic.
Well, oh wait, one thing, like you just made me remember. How many? Yeah, I got questions for y'all today. How many of you all? She had her carnelian in her bra.
It's good for money.
Jay, go sit down. How many of you guys got with these Instagram ads and bought?
Why am I still getting
y'all? Let me tell y'all something. I swear, every time I talk to Christy, she be like, Instagram got me again.
And I'm still getting got. Because what else am I going to do?
What else you going to do? You're scrolling through your social media, and you be like, oh, that's a cute little kimono. Let me grab that.
Man, kimono
Girl, you know I love me some. I love me a kimono. Sorry, I just had a whole moment. I love me a kimono. I got a couple times too. As a matter of fact, I got one that's coming in the mail right now. Anyway.
I get got at least once a week.
I just, but no, seriously though. Dealing with because I started thinking about this. Mm-hmm. Before the pandemic, what I would do, like, so I would do some retail therapy, or I would go out with my friends. Like, it's like for me, being in fellowship with my community, especially like my girlfriends and stuff, that's helpful. So we weren't able to do things, like that. So, that's why me and Christy drank every Wednesday when we recorded, because, we're like, we made it a restaurant. It's going to be, like, you guys know, I mean, we would serve, like, food. Like, we're going to make this a whole experience. And that was helpful for us. But when you think about, when you take away the things that we used to do to help us deal with our stresses, but what it was helping us not deal with our stresses before. Because I have something to do to distract me from that.
Yeah.
The pandemic forced some people to be like, I can't not deal with this. And I think that's actually a beautiful thing, because you grow through that.
You do. Yep.
You definitely grow through that.
Yeah. That's really true. Because even though, like, I'm not like a social person, I mean, I'll go out on occasion, but the pandemic was like, I have to get out the house. Like,
Christy,
I'm definitely one of those people.
Yeah,
Like, I have to get out. Like, I have
Christy can't sit still. Yeah, but I mean, like, that's that good energy. Like, I just need to be, she has that, like, I need to be doing something. And I don't know if this makes me sound lazy, but
I got that from my mom.
I cannot be doing shit. I'm like, I'm okay. I do what I need to do when I need to do it, but if I ain't doing nothing, I don't need to do nothing.
Well, actually, I scheduled doing nothing on a day. I scheduled on the 14th.
Wait, stop. Pause. We gonna pause for everybody. Put your everybody put your hands together. We gonna pray for our friend Christy. Whose schedule's not doing that? How is that
like,
even
I blocked
possible?
out my entire calendar, so when people ask,
you blocked out your calendar. So what does that mean?
So people ask me, like, sorry, I can't.
What does that mean for you? This is so adorable. Hey, Bradley, can you bite a butt, Bradley?
I mean, even though I scheduled to not do anything, I did do some things.
No, but explain to me, what does that mean?
Stay in the house, clean, listen to music.
But that's doing something.
I know. Or read.
Okay, there we go. I'm like, you cleaning. Well, that's actually that could be considered, because especially when you have on some music and you jamming. Oh, speaking of jamming, Christy's boyfriend, I went to his okay, y'all. So y'all know we like to work out. So I haven't been to the gym in a while because I've been taking care of a whole bunch of stuff. But Christy and her guy have been asking me to go to his cycling class for like ever. And mind you, this is like after our 5 o'clock workout class. I'm like, y'all crazy, I ain't going. So they convinced me to go. And it was the jam. But also, though, his playlist. Let me tell y'all something I rediscovered during. I'm like, there's something about music will make you want to work out. Dude's playlist had me going, because I didn't think I'm not a cyclist. I was like, I don't know how to make it through this. But his music got me through it. I mean, at the end of the class, I was like, wait, what was that one song? And I need that other one. So that group that you guys, was it Aya? Mm-hmm. Aya? How do you Baby, I've been jamming to her.
She has a good album.
And then, you know how you play something and then, similar art.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've been vibing.
We love
Do
music.
you hear me?
Yeah, we
Oh
love
my
music.
God. I
Music
love,
is like-
love.
And I honestly, that's another thing with the pandemic too. Like, I feel like I got even deeper into my music.
Yes.
Just because it's like, well, what else am I gonna do? I don't have a TV, so I don't have that as entertainment. So either, you know, the internet, social media, or music, you know, is one of those things that keep me sane.
Music, but honestly, if you think about music, is like, I mean, Chris and I both got certified for sound healing. We talk about music, but honestly, when you really think about, and we can personally attest to this, it is healing. Sound is healing. Like, even in the energy healing that I do, my dragonfly method, I use sound healing in there. It, like, when I tell you it, music, think about this. Music can take you to other places.
Yes. I check out all the time on music.
I mean, like, straight take you to, music can help you recall memories, whether they're, you know, some enjoyable ones, like, you know, a past love. Music can make you remember times. Like, when I listen to certain music, I can remember college and just like, oh my God, what a freaking ball I had. What an amazing time I had. Oh, I can remember specific events. And so for some people, so for me, recall is very much so connected to feelings.
Oh, absolutely.
Very much so. Like, I can be someplace and see something and just be like, it makes me feel something, and that feeling will be like, remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Music does that for me.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so during the pandemic, I definitely,
Brings
actually,
me back
guys,
there.
the music that we wanted to put as our, what do you call this, Jay? Turn that off. As our introduction music. Remember?
Yeah.
We reached out to this artist because we just loved her music. We were never able to get a response back, but we wanted permission to use that as our introduction music. And why can't I remember her name right now?
Shekinah. Is it
Shekinah, yes. South African artist. And she has this song called, and Shekinah is SHAK.
SHE.
Shekinah. Ki. Yeah, something like that. Sorry, guys. But we reached out because she has this song called Power to She. And, you know, when we were putting this together, two queens and crystal things, and part she says, power to she that knows she's a queen. Woo. And we were like, oh my God, this is perfect music. But that was an artist discovered during the pandemic.
Yep.
So, yes, there's a lot of discoveries during the pandemic.
There is. And then also, you know, like I mentioned before, I needed to get out of the house because, you know, we're on quarantine, having to be stuck in the house all the time. A lot of people became more active during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So people who necessarily wouldn't have gone out to the gym, they started working out at home. They started working out at their home gym, or they created their own gym.
Think about all the transformations that people were posting during pandemic, because some of them are funny, though. But, you know, like, so a lot of the pandemics that were posted, the transformations that were posted during the pandemic, a lot of people just got into themselves.
Yeah, and they got tired of seeing themselves looking.
It's like, well, now I have no excuse.
Yeah, they're like, I'm tired of looking at this woman every single day, so let me do something about it.
One of my friends, Danielle, you know Danielle.
Yeah.
She said, I love it. She said, so girl, I looked in the mirror and I told this bitch she's fired. I just thought that was something. She said, I fired her. I'm done.
Your contract will not be renewed.
It will not be renewed. I'm done with you. And I think a lot of people had opportunities to, and are still having opportunities to think about how they want to transform their lives. And for some, and if you really think about it, for some it may start off as, I need to work on my body, but it turns into as without
deeper.
So within, within so without. And so people, and once you start the transformation process, and this is a real thing, because this goes back to the fact that we're creators. Literally, and I'm talking about when I say you can create your body, and I don't mean you can do that too, but what I'm speaking about is creating your body from putting in some work for yourself. There's something so beautiful and magical when you look at, damn, look what I did for myself. Like, I did this. And again, I can't speak on people who go and get shots. And I'm not, because there may be that feeling too. That's just
Yeah.
not my experience. So I'm talking about like when I go into the gym, I'm working out, and I look at myself in the mirror and I look at my body, and it's like, I did this, I transformed my body. And what happens is it reminds you that I have full control over myself,
Full control
over this whole temple, internally and externally. And I think it helped awaken a lot of people to the control that they have over their whole self, their body, their mind, and their spirituality and their connection to God. When you start realizing, I mean, and it could literally start off with just with working out. You start realizing, like, wait a minute, hold on. If I did this, let me think about this for a second.
Yep.
I can transform these insides. Then you start thinking, what type of energy has a transforming type of energy? That sounds like God to me. I just created something. Do I have I am energy in me? Bing, bang, boop. Now we got somebody who didn't open their whole mind because they started working out during the pandemic.
They're like,
bam!
Let me see what else I can create.
Let me see what else I can create.
Yeah. And then, as we talked about earlier, people became more compassionate.
Yes.
Just being stuck in the house and being like inundated with the news and all of the deaths, and people became more compassionate. So think about all of the people who adopted animals during.
Absolutely.
I did.
I
you
did. We both did.
We
yes.
both did.
Absolutely.
Opened up our homes to animals, because there are a lot of animals that were without homes during the pandemic. People were just leaving their. Oh my God.
That's his baby. But we know he still works.
Yeah, he does.
We just saw Brantley's private parts.
Brantley is getting it on with his panda. I apologize, people.
I mean, shoot. Let Brantley live his life. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
But wait, did he just take the panda to the back so he could finish? Oh, hell. Let me tell you something. These pandemic pets is something else. You know how people talk about these pandemic babies?
The pandemic
These
pets.
pandemic pets is something else. I'm trying to tell you. He just dragged the thing
sure
to the
did.
back. He has left the building. He said, I'll be right back.
Yes.
Now, if you come back here panting, we're going to have a conversation, Brandon. You better be longer than 2 minutes.
No, he's about 2 minutes. he got baby pumps. Take these baby pumps.
Take these baby pumps.
But I also think, like, outside of people being more compassionate, I also think that people started to really appreciate being outside and being in nature, because you're inside all the time. So it's like, once you go outside,
there's a greater appreciation for it.
The wind.
Even to this day,
Yeah.
walking, like literally, like when I parked over here, I walked just to this day, even walking from my car to the front of your building, I'm taking it all in.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like pre-pandemic, real talk,
Yeah.
definitely, it's just like
We took
one
it for
point to the
granted.
next.
Yep.
I am very much so after this time. One of the good things that I would say that came out of this for me was being able to be in the moment and
Yes.
find joy in every moment. So, as I'm walking, I'm looking over at the lake like, man, that's pretty. Oh, people have their sailboats out, and you know what I mean? Whereas before, I'd just be walking real fast, not paying attention. So being in the moment and finding joy where you are, there's something magical and powerful about that.
Yep.
So,
I
question
agree.
for you. We're not done. We're not out of this quite yet. What do you, if you could crystal ball it, what do you think, what do you think people should consider, think about, or what do you think is going to happen next? What is one thing that you would say, because we're just not out of this quite yet, and nobody knows for certain, but what is your feeling of what's coming?
Well, I don't want to sound like negative Nancy, but I do.
Well,
I do
you're
feel
not
like
negative Nancy.
But I do feel like it is going to get worse before it gets better.
Girl, you took the words out of my mouth.
And even though, like, in the midst of it, it's going to be a challenge for many of us, at the other end of it, like on the other side,
Yes.
it's going to be a beautiful thing. Like, I think it's going to be a challenge for so many people.
So the way that I see this, and I hate to use this sports analogy, but I can't help it. When you're running track, we practice like a lot. Practice was terrible. It's literally every day I didn't want to go. Twice a day, 1 to 6, 1 to 2. You don't want to do these type of things. It is terrible and it's a challenge. But when it was time for me to show up, when it's time for you to show up after you've put in this work and you've beat your body to submission, where now you can tell it and train it what to do, but it hurts in that process. When you show up at the end, now it's okay.
Yep.
Now all this made sense, and I feel like we're in practice right now, and we're setting up. And this is, it's one of those terrible practices where you run like 10 400s timed in a row. Like it's real. It's like super bad. It's super. Nobody wants to do this.
For
shit.
those of you track runners, I don't understand. It's like Japanese.
It's hard. Basically, you're getting your ass whooped. But when you're going through this, seriously, just one of the, how anybody who's ever done a sport or even like anything with your body, how you had certain days where it's like those are the worst type of practices. Like this hurts so bad. Like if you had weight day and sprint day at the same time, you're like, why are y'all doing this to me? It hurts. But then when it's time for you to show up and show out, there's something behind that because you put in some work. And I just feel like we are building what's behind it. We're going through that process so that when it's time for us to show up and show out and create, and I don't want to say new world because that makes people think of new world order, but to create our new normal, let's just say that. And everybody has a part in this, you guys. Everybody has a part in creating the new normal. Yep. I just feel like that's what we're going through.
I agree. And like you said, our new normal, well, I mean, we're never going to go back.
It's not ever going to be exactly how it was.
It's starting to click. Like,
that's
Christie,
really hard for people to, it is.
I want my life back. But yeah, so, I mean, a lot of people talk about how bad the pandemic is, but in no way are we minimizing the toll it took on people's mental health, physical health, family structure. There were a lot of people who left this realm.
Yes. We really lost people because of this. We did. But instead of directing the energy of negativity, I wanted to challenge everyone to just think of and acknowledge the really cool things that were born out of the pandemic. And even if that thing was opening yourself up to your spirituality, your I am energy, even if that process was kind of jacked, the idea that that's what you're doing is absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
So I don't have temple work today.
No temple work?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so what would your takeaway be from this discussion?
I would honestly, you guys, y'all look. My biggest takeaway, that if I want you to walk away and to remember anything, is just that you are a master creator. And you have the ability to create your life. And sometimes it's only through trauma and us being taken down to nothing and everything challenged and uprooted that we get to see. It's time for me to plant some more seeds.
Yep.
So, and again, we don't want to devalue anybody's opinion or judgment, because everybody's experience is different. But I love what Chrissy said. Like, I challenge you in the midst of whatever it is that you're going through or trying to come back from because of this pandemic. I challenge you to look at where the opportunities are for you to grow yourself. Because if you're still here for a reason, period. What's your takeaway?
Period.
So
this is something that my mother always told me. If you look for the bad, you're going to find it. So if you look for the good, you're going to find it. So
that means stop checking your man's phone.
Or you just might find some stuff
if you're looking for something, you're going to be like, why I ain't there?
My mother told me that. She was like, Chrissy, we keep looking at his stuff. So yeah, if you look for the bad, you will find it. But I want to challenge you guys to look for the good.
What's our crystal? I love this, by the way.
So today's crystal of the day is pink sapphire. The element is fire and water, and it's good for the heart chakra. So pink sapphire stimulates the gentle emotions of love, forgiveness, acceptance, and release.
Come on.
It also holds the pattern of the power of vulnerability. It encourages one to be yielding and pliable like the willow. The strength it engenders is the strength of resilience. We are going to get through this. It is an ideal stone of emotional and psychic protection for situations in which one does not have the authority to direct events, but from which one cannot simply depart. So we're all in this together, regardless of whether or not we want to be in this or not.
I mean, you know, 'cause I'm gonna tell y'all something real quick. If we could just float up out of here,
Man, I would have been
trust
up.
your girl when I tell you.
I would have been up.
And it's up, and it's, I mean, blink, blink, blink. Y'all know I stay trying to get off. So we here, so we gonna do this together.
And then also the really great thing is that pink sapphire allows you to weather the storms of life without damage. It also helps to heal the wounds of past emotional traumas, and it facilitates compassion for others, even those who have wronged us. Lastly, this crystal can help teach us lessons of appreciation and gratitude. So that's why I chose the crystal. I thought it would be great.
And for all of our ladies out there who like
Yeah.
pink diamonds, tell your man to save some money and buy you a pink sapphire.
Pink sapphire, please.
It's actually beautiful and costs significantly less than you go buy a pink diamond. Just
And the whole diamond thing,
Your
that's a
girl
whole
loves
nother
jewelry.
discussion.
That's a whole nother. Trust me on that.
Yeah, diamonds are anyway. But yes, so that is the crystal of the week.
I did on message earlier.
Yes. Thank you all
I
for
preach.
listening.
We love you guys.
Yes, thank you. I mean, honestly, we would not be
Seriously.
here without.
I'm like, this
You
came
are.
out of the pandemic, so
Right.
I can't believe I didn't realize that. We really appreciate you guys. Continue to reach out to us.
Yeah. And don't forget, send us questions for the queens if you have
We know
any.
y'all got some questions.
We know you do because y'all DM us.
Right.
You all DM us.
So, send us some questions. You can reach us on IG at 2 Queens and Crystal Things.
Mm-hmm.
And please follow us on our personal pages. Christy, my sister here, is great for her energy work. I love it. And she has some new things coming that I'm excited about. And you can find her at Christie R. Edwards on IG. Again, that's Christie R. Edwards. That's Christy with an I-E.
Yes, and with a CH, not a K and a Y.
Oh my God, that's right. You do that. I forgot. That's right.
They
So
do.
CHRISTIE.
Yep.
R. Edwards.
Yep.
So
And
go check out my girl.
Mia, you already know I talk about her all the time. I hype her up to you guys. She's one of the best readers I've gone to. You guys, I trust her with my life, and I trust her with my child's life. She's even given my daughter a reading, so she's
That's the
definitely
queen over there. That's the little queen in training right there.
But she also does Akashic record readings, Reiki sound healing, and then the dragon.
The
You
dragon.
guys,
I
the
need you to come
dragonfly.
over, by the way. I'm gonna try something. I didn't want to try something new. I need you to come over so I can practice this on you. Okay, sorry.
But the dragonfly, you guys, I am super excited. So, and you know, you guys can find her at Wings Unleashed 444. That's wings, like wings of a butterfly unleashed
Spread your
444.
wings and prepare to fly.
Also, shout out to the two queens that came and had a session with me, Riley and her friend Lily.
Riley reached out to me.
Yes, for a reading. I told her I was
She
like,
did.
she needs to reach out to you for a reading, so she's gonna do that. So thank you guys for your support.
We love the support. You
we
guys
really
reach out
do.
to us. We love it. But seriously, we all in this together, and everybody plays a role.
Everybody.
And we are just comfortable enough that we're okay with playing what our role is.
Yes.
And we love y'all.
Sometimes we're comfortable. Sometimes I'm comfortable. Sometimes I'm not. But
So we speaking into existence,
yes,
friend.
there we go. There
we
we go.
speaking life.
Speaking life. Yes, we are. All right. Love, peace, light, love, and soul.
Till next week, you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.